Thank you. It was seconded by Calvin. Calvin's the man that can. Next up on our agenda is to be our special guest. They aren't here yet, so when they do arrive, we will start the meeting, have them speak to us, and then we'll be doing our meeting. We had a program scheduled. Tanya may be on her way, don't know, so we're gonna forego that. And now there is some words I have for our sisters. Next up will be our minutes. Minutes were mailed out. Did we get a chance to look at the minutes? Okay, then I would entertain a motion to accept the minutes as pre-read unless someone would like to have the minutes read.
Make a motion to accept the minutes.
Motion to accept the minutes as presented electronically. That's second by Angela. All in favor? Okay. Next up is correspondence. Michelle is not here. We'll forego her report. Next up is our financial report with Ms. Wanaboo.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Our Comerica Bank accounts receivables beginning balance is $2,622.03. We had accounts receivables for $2,000 from Region 1 for a donation to the Men's Health Fair. We had $157 membership dues for 2023 and $845 for the regional conference for registrations, fees, and raffles, which came up to $3,002. In our accounts payable, we paid our cash app domain of $39.95, $80 for the recognition award, $845 was transferred to Regional 7's account for their registration fees from the raffle tickets, the fees, and I believe that's it, yeah. $820 was registration fees, and $25 of it was from raffle tickets. That means we paid out $964.95. Our ending balance in Comerica is $4,659.08. Our First Independence Bank account beginning balance is $6,728.48. Ending balance is $6,728.48. And the total account balances for cbtudm Detroit chapter is $11,387.56. This concludes my report.
Are there any questions for our treasurer?
Motion made.
Are there any questions for our treasurer? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to accept the report as presented.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you. Thank you, Tawana. Next up, will be our committee reports. Do you have any committee reports? Dave, did you want to speak on, what we talked about earlier?
I am part of the, what they're calling the Stop Smoking, organization. We've got a problem in the black community with people with utilizing, menthol cigarettes, I'm sorry. Matter of fact, we've got a Zoom meeting this coming Friday. But this is the one thing that we're really trying to get people in our community, because so many people are having lung problems and that type of thing because of menthol cigarettes. And the reason really concentrating on menthol is because that is something that has been introduced years ago into the black community because of its supposed to be taste and that type of thing. And they're really pushing around the country, but particularly here in Detroit, in the black community. So we're trying to get you to get that kind of message out to your loved ones, that, you know, this is something that is killing our young people. And they get it to the point where they try now is with the these e-cigarettes and those things, they putting flavors in them, once again to attract youngsters. So this is something that we've got to be very, very concerned about. That's one of the committees. I also, the chair of the men's committee. We had a men's committee meeting by way of Zoom just last week. There has been a new person appointed as the director of the men's department, a young man, the secretary treasurer of the AFT International Union, that will be chairing the men's committee. That was the first meeting. We're going to start having a monthly Zoom meeting or conference call once a month, so that we will be ready coming up for our next convention, which will be in New Orleans. Thirdly, I serve on the retirees committee. As a matter of fact, I'm co-chair of that committee. And we're talking about doing something next year. Hello. We're talking about doing something next year. Having a panel with the youth and the seniors to really get together to talk about how we can share with each other. So that's going to be at our convention in New Orleans. So if any of you young folk are retired, we would certainly invite you to the retirees conference in New Orleans at the convention next year. That'll conclude my
And then
committee
you're gonna
reports.
mention to him, I'll go in more detail, what you and I spoke about when we doing the TULC.
TULC.
Bridge, the connection with the young people.
Oh, and this is exactly one of the things that Mike and I were talking about. Trying to get some of what I call the seasoned ones of us to get together with the young people here so that we can start again sharing. I mean, there are things that I have no clue when you start talking about a lot of the technology and this type of thing. I mean, I might want to get on Zoom. I got to call Phil. Phil, what do I need to do? ABC, this kind of thing. And I mean, younger people, to them, it's a snap. Absolutely nothing. So we need to start sitting down and getting together so that we can share. Now, many of you don't know me. I am one of the original cbtu members.
Yes.
I might have started when I was about 7 or 8, but in 1972, when the organization was actually birthed after many leaders thought, black leaders thought, we were not being recognized by the AFL-CIO. So stretched out and started the Coalition of Black Trade Unionists. Now, I just talked about the men's director coming from AFT now. Back then, AFT demanded that their people not attend CBTU. Bill Simons, who's one of the original 5 from the AFT, had the, if I was in a men's meeting, I'd say something different, but had the gall to tell his president, I'm a man. I'm a man. I go where I want to go on my dime.
All right.
Because what we were doing, started having the conventions in and around Memorial Day. That's why it's during that time around Memorial Day, because people were off work and they can go for that weekend utilizing their own monies. I mean, some unions did send their members, but many unions would tell their people, you are not allowed. These are adults. You are not allowed to go to that meeting. So, as a result, the FLCIO then encouraged APRI to get the attention of Coalition of Black Trade Unions.
Right.
Plus they said, you know, this group won't be around very long anyway. And now it's been more than 52 years and we're still here. All right? So again, that concludes my reports.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. And,
ready to take
welfare.
our-
We're gonna talk about our leader, Bill Lucy. This time, I'm gonna take a personal privilege to suspend the business meeting. One of our special guests is here and he's ready to speak to us. He got lost, put down to Brenda Lawrence. So Judge Bernstein, why would you like to stand or like to sit? I have a podium.
Standing would be great.
Okay, would you like to stand behind the podium? Would you give me the microphone? How you wanna do it?
Yeah, if you give me the mic, that'd be great.
Okay, so we'll do that.
Thank you.
So without further ado, everybody, I had an opportunity, he and I have been knowing each other for a long time.
Very long time.
And we did a program, Phil and I did a program with them that is airing now on our political action workshop. That also asked everybody here to make sure you like that page, as well as go on our YouTube and like it and join it. But we had a very great conversation.
Sure.
But you got some wonderful things we're gonna share with people. Without further ado, please welcome our guest, the State Supreme Justice of Michigan, Mr. Richard Bernstein.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I am so delighted to be here, and as always, thank you for your incredible service. Thank you for the work that you do. Thank you for the amazing commitment you guys have, and thank you for the sacrifice that you make. Because at the end of the day, you're the ones who make it happen.
All right.
You're the ones who we depend on. You're the ones who we rely on. You're the ones who really go out and do the heavy lifting and do the real work and do the things that matter. So it's really that simple. What I want to do is, I want to do something a little different, because so often what happens when candidates come, you hear the same thing. Am I right? It's always the same speech. Why it's important, why you have to go out and work hard, why you have to do this, why you have to do that. And we're not doing that today. Because at the end of the day, here it is, it's a Saturday afternoon. You all could be doing 1,000 different things, but you're here to be a part of this. So I think what we should do is, instead of giving the standard kind of speech that you guys hear all the time, which is, okay, we gotta get out, it's so important, all that stuff, we're not gonna waste your time with that. We're gonna have a really intricate, highly technical discussion about the Supreme Court, and I'm gonna let our moderator kind of work the time, but I wanna make this a conversation. I wanna make this a discussion. I want us to have a chance to really connect. And I want you to really have an opportunity to ask questions about the court, to ask questions about cases, to ask questions about the things that are happening. And I wanna really engage you at a very, I would say, just appropriate and incredibly intensive technical level about things that are happening, the things that are taking place, and all the things that I think you would probably have an interest in. So why don't we dive in, if you guys would like. Let's talk about a few quick things, and then I want to open it up to conversation, and I want you to start asking me the hardest questions you can possibly think of. So the harder the question, the more I'm going to enjoy having the opportunity to answer it.
All right.
Okay, that's what I'm going to enjoy. But I want to kind of start with this. If there's one key thing that we can take away from our conversation today, it's really this. The road to the White House goes through the Michigan Supreme Court.
All right.
And so you're probably asking yourselves, well, why is that the case? Wait, what are you talking about? Why would the road to the White House go through the Michigan Supreme Court? The answer is this. And again, as a judge, and you all know this, I can't take any position on anything that's pending or potentially pending before the court, but we can definitely talk about procedural issues. All procedural matters are completely fair game. So let's talk about it. So let's ask that question. Why is it that the road to the White House goes through the Michigan Supreme Court? The answer is this. both parties, I think most would argue, and most would probably agree on, really have come to the conclusion that Michigan is going to be the pivotal state in determining the 2024 presidential election. Right? Everyone pretty much agrees that Michigan is going to be the deciding state. That's a big deal. So how does the Supreme Court play into this? The Supreme Court plays into it because we are the ones who will decide all the constitutional questions that go into how you administer an election. All right, let's run through. Right? Let's give some examples. The Michigan Supreme Court will decide the constitutionality of who can vote, how they can vote, where they can vote, the process for which they vote, ballots, how ballots are counted, how ballots are tabulated. Any aspect that goes into how you administer an election will go through and be decided solely and exclusively by the Michigan Supreme Court. One quick example, I'm going to give you two actual examples. In the state of Wisconsin, the Wisconsin Supreme Court ruled that drop boxes are unconstitutional. Now, the way it works is once a Supreme Court of a state, because what is a presidential election? It's 50 state elections. So once a Supreme Court of a state determines something to be either constitutional or unconstitutional, that's the end of the conversation. So once they determined in Wisconsin, now keep in mind, their Supreme Court is a 4-3 Republican Supreme Court. So once they determined that drop boxes are deemed to be unconstitutional, that's the end of the conversation. There will be no drop boxes in the state of Wisconsin. In the state of Delaware, there's litigation that just went through the trial court where they ruled that mail-in voting is unconstitutional. That's it. Now that will probably be appealed, so we'll see what happens. But what you're seeing is why the Supreme Court matters to such an intense degree. Because for all intents and purposes, the Michigan Supreme Court is the last word. And just really quick, and I want to really take some questions. Look at what just happened 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, when you were dealing with the whole issue of the constitutional amendment getting put on the ballot dealing with abortion. Y'all remember that?
Yes.
What is it that happened? It had to go, and also to promote the vote, right? Both of those issues, both of those things had to go where? They had to go to the Board of Canvassers before so they could be certified to go on the ballot. It's not, right? So now people, which excites me, people are now learning how complicated the process is, but what role the Board of Canvassers plays. Now with the Board of Canvassers, you have 2 Democrats and 2 Republicans. In order for something to be certified, you have to have a majority. So if you have 2 Democrats and 2 Republicans, and if they deadlock, it doesn't get certified. That's what happened with the abortion question and the abortion issue. What I think people are getting ready for, just to show how significant it is that for this election, for the governor, for the attorney general, for the secretary of state, there's a very strong chance that the Board of Canvassers won't certify the election. If they don't certify it, it goes to the Supreme Court, and we determine if the election gets certified. So I share this with you just to really highlight the unbelievable importance of the Supreme Court as it pertains to the election, as it pertains to all of these issues. And if there's one takeaway that we can have with our time here together, is that at the end of the day, the last word on all of these issues is going to be decided by the Supreme Court. But people don't pay attention to us. We get overshadowed, but yet we're the ones who make the most critical and crucial decisions that affect everything. And in the time that we've got, who's got a question?
Does anyone have a question for the justice?
Come on, someone's got to have a question about the core
I got
of
one.
the issues. Okay, please.
And it's related to the the conversation we had with you the other day on Zoom.
Okay.
And you said something that just totally blew my mind.
Tell me.
When you said that every Wednesday you have 25 cases that you have to,
Yes.
to deal with.
Yes.
So in all actuality, how many of those cases are resolved on that particular Wednesday?
Many of them. It's a wonderful question. So let me tell you kind of how the process works. So when you're blind, you know, I can't really read and write, so I have to memorize. So when you have 25 cases, right? You have 25 cases. Here's the story with these cases, right? You got 25 cases. So you say to yourself, okay, do you put them into Braille? Well, no, can't put them into Braille because why? You can't. It's too voluminous. If I give you one textbook page, you're gonna give me 65 Braille pages. So Braille's not gonna work. Can't use a computer because if you're using a computer, you're not able to engage in conversation with your colleagues. So you can't use Braille, can't use a computer, so how do you do it? I have to memorize all those cases. I memorize all of those cases. And I don't memorize them word for word, but I know those cases to such a degree that when the commissioner says, justices, we are now on case 18. And they'll say, case 18 is carjacking that resulted in 2 murders. When I hear carjacking resulting in 2 murders, that's my mental trigger and I can recall the case in its entirety because I've been doing so much preparation and internalization. The reason I share that is because people say, so why do you do this job, right? Why do you do this? You know, as a blind person, it takes you 5 times longer to do. It's incredibly intensive. It's incredibly challenging. It's incredibly exhaustive. So, you know, why do you do this? Why do you put yourself through this? You know, why is this something that is meaningful for you to do? I'm going to answer the wonderful gentleman's question by saying this. There are certain cases that make it worthwhile. All cases are important, but there are certain cases that really define why you do this because the impact that you have on people's lives. There's a case I just want to share with you because it's a case I'm most proud of, but it was the Johnson Scott case. And with Johnson Scott, you had 2 African-American young men who were sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. But here was the problem. They didn't do it. And I was proud to be the justice that was able to write the opinion that gave them their freedom.
All right.
Now here's the thing. Now here's the thing. Their lives are still devastated, right? 18 years. It's horrific. But at least you can say that you left the situation in a better place than where you had found it. I was given the opportunity to write the Flint water decision. 150,000 people were poisoned by their government. 150,000 people were literally poisoned. Their children have lead, which is probably one of the worst things you could ever do to the growth and development of a child. 150,000 people. And I was given the opportunity to write the position, write the opinion that gave them a voice and allowed for their voice to matter under the Constitution. And allowed for them to have their grievances heard by the state. That's why we do this. And I'll give you one other quick example. Environment. People say, oh, why is the environment so critical and so important? Well, I can answer it this way. You don't have to look too much further, not even that far from where we are right now. South Dearborn. The Rouge plant wanted to put up a whole big smokestack. And this smokestack was actually sending soot all through the neighborhood. Soot, just dust and soot, was gathering and collecting on schools, on daycares, children. And the question was, you know, what role does the community have in determining its place as it pertains to the administrative process? Right? Like, you know, what role, if you live in a community, do you have to be able to have your voice heard in allowing a company or a factory like this to do this within that community? And I wrote the opinion that basically said you have absolutely every right to be heard. And that people in a community matter, that they're relevant, that the state doesn't have the right or the power to simply steamroll people. In a community, in a neighborhood, you don't have that right. And that before you do something that's gonna affect the ground, it's gonna affect the air, it's gonna affect the water, before you do something of that nature, there should be an administrative process. And the community has to be heard, and voices have to be respected. That's why this matters so much. At the end of the day, it's so interesting. That's why I'm so happy to be here. Because you have two great candidates running for the Michigan Supreme Court.
All right.
You have myself, and you have Representative Bolden. And here's the thing. You've got two really highly energetic, highly passionate, highly capable,
Yes.
highly competent people that are going out and doing the work. But really what we, why events like this are so important and why gatherings like this really are critical and are incredibly significant is because what happens is that candidly is that it's often the case that we get a little overshadowed, right? People aren't thinking about the Supreme Court. They're thinking about the other races and, they're focusing on the other races, and that's completely okay, and we get that. But at the end of the day, what happens is that when you overshadow the Supreme Court, every critical issue that people have in this room here today is gonna be decided by the court, right? So all these other folks, they can advocate, they can argue, they can do all these different things. But the Supreme Court is going to make the absolute final decision. So you can advocate, you can make your argument, but we're gonna be the ones who are gonna make the absolute final decision as it pertains to every critical issue that is that it is the most personal, defining issue of our time. And it comes to the Supreme Court. And really what's interesting is that we would, Representative Bolden and I will be fine if Democrats finish their ballot. I used to have a good friend that I really loved, really good guy. His name was Conrad Mallett.
Oh, yeah.
And Conrad Mallett, Justice Mallett, was on the Supreme Court, and he had a fantastic campaign slogan. His campaign slogan was, "You haven't finished your ballot until you voted for Mallett." It's a great slogan, because people knew that they hadn't finished their ballot until they voted for Mallett. But the key here is that we just have to make sure that Democrats, and that's why this is so critical, we have to make sure that Democrats, when they go to vote, finish the ballot. So if every Democrat that goes to vote knows to turn over the ballot and go to the nonpartisan section, right? Because that's where Representative Bolden and I are gonna be found. If you vote just straight Democratic and you don't go to the nonpartisan section, you haven't voted for us. And the biggest problem that we have is that people don't finish the ballot. They simply go in, they vote straight party or they vote Democratic, and they don't go on to the nonpartisan section. And the reason it's so important, you have to remember the two B's, Bernstein and Bolden. That's why it's really critical that folks emphasize the two B's, Bernstein and Bolden.
She's here now.
Oh, she's here, excellent. Oh, I didn't know, okay, excellent. Oh, excellent. Well, the reason that this is so critical, that you have to remember Bernstein and Bolden, you have to remember these two names, right? The reason that this is important is that when folks go in to vote, there's not a designation given to Bernstein and Bolden. You have to know who you're voting for when you go in, right? That's what's so critical. You've got to make sure. Look, I just want to be direct about it, right? A lot of people know my name. Let's just face it. People know Bernstein. What you really have to emphasize, though, there are only two B's.
All right.
Right? Just remember the B's. It's relatively straightforward, right? Just that's it. You just want to vote for Supreme Court, but you just remember Bernstein and Bolden. And the key, just remember two B's. There's Bernstein and there's Bolden. They're the only two candidates that have the B next to them, right? But you're not gonna know that we're Democrats. So that's why the names are critical, and you have to emphasize that when folks go in on the nonpartisan section, we're on the ballot. I don't know where that is. It could be on the front, the back, wherever, but it's the nonpartisan section, right? Just make sure that they know the names going in. They know Bernstein and Bolden, and then they go to the Supreme Court and they focus on those two names. That is absolutely critical. If there's anything that's more important when you're canvassing, people know the governor, they know the attorney general, they know all those people, right? We get it, we know it. We see her ads 1,000 times a day. I really get the point. Like, I really do understand who the governor is, and I get all that, right? We get it. But what they don't know is who your two Democratic candidates are for Supreme Court. And the most important thing is that for everybody else, they're just gonna vote straight Democratic. You've gotta know those names. You've gotta know Bolden. It's that critical. Just make sure that when you flyer, that when you canvass, that wherever you are, just make the focus on Bolden, right? Because people, I think, will know Bernstein, but you have to make sure that people know Bolden. Just make sure they know Bolden. All right, and now that she's here, let's have her come up and talk with you as well.
Supreme Court Justice.
Yes, but we're
Richard
gonna, I wanna
Bernstein.
hear
Thank
the
you.
representative, so we're gonna take a seat and listen to her. Is this chair here? Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Alrighty.
And I had an opportunity to meet my sister, and we know a lot of the same people, and we had a good time on the interview.
Sure did, sure
I asked some
did.
hard questions, didn't I?
You did.
Yeah.
I love hard questions.
But she answered every one of them well. Please
All right.
welcome State Representative from Southfield, Kyra Harris.
Well, first, I just want to make sure we give another round of applause for my teammate for Justice, Justice Bernstein.
All right. Two B's.
Yes, two B's, Bernstein and Bolden. I was saying Bernstein and Bolden on the back of the ballot. Okay, it might be on the front, it might be on the bottom, it might be on the top right-hand side. Vote for Bernstein and Bolden, no matter where we are on the ballot.
That's
So
right.
not as catchy. But I'm State Representative Kyra Harris Bolden. I currently represent Michigan's 35th House District, which includes the communities of Southfield, Lathrop Village, Beverly Hills, Bingham Farms, and Franklin. I'm a lifelong resident of Southfield. I went to Grand Valley State University. For undergrad, I went to the University of Detroit Mercy School of Law for law school. I then became a court-appointed criminal defense attorney because I wanted to know what justice looked like in my community. And I became a judicial law clerk thereafter and clerked for the Honorable Judge John A. Murphy in Wayne County 3rd Circuit Court. And he is the longest serving judge in the state of Michigan's history, and he makes me say that every time I mention his name. And then I worked for a law firm, Lewis and Monday in downtown Detroit, and some of you may know it because it is the oldest and largest black-owned law firm in the country. And I worked there until I decided I wanted to run for office in 2018. And in 2018, I had never run for office before. Just through my legal career, I kept asking myself, who's making these laws? And I kept saying that because some of our laws are ambiguous, right? Some of the cases are not contemplated in our laws, which is why people have to go to the courts in the first place. But I thought if I can be at the table making laws, then we can help them be more clear. We can help the other representatives understand how these laws affect our communities, and maybe we can contemplate more cases in our laws. And so when I got to the State House, we hit the ground running. We've been able to get 5 bills passed into law.
All
Now we
right.
start, yes. Thank you, I appreciate that because it is very difficult to get a law passed in the state of Michigan, much less in the minority, okay? Because that means every single bill idea that I've had to have Republican sponsorship or at least agreement, right? To get through both the House, the Senate, to the governor's desk for signature. And so I focus my work on criminal justice reform and protecting survivors of sexual assault and violence.
All right.
And 2 bills that I'm going to highlight before we talk about what's at stake, although Justice Bernstein definitely underscored that wonderfully. So we were able to get an amendment to the Wrongful Imprisonment Compensation Act. And why is this so important and why am I so proud of this legislation? Because there was a glitch in the law that said, you know what? Our state law said you can file within 18 months or a certain period of time, but our court of claims, where you actually filed the claim, said you had to file within 6 months. And so cases were being dismissed just because people were not filing on time. These are wrongfully convicted individuals who deserved compensation for being wrongfully convicted, and they were being shut out of our system simply because they didn't file on time. That is not justice. And so through a 2-bill bipartisan bill package that we got across the finish line, we corrected that timeline so everybody knew when to file, and then those that had been previously denied were able to reapply and get the compensation that they deserved. So we're talking about significant pieces of legislation that affect people's lives. The second bill I'm very, very proud of, out of 5, and I promise you I won't tell you about every single one. I will bore you. But the second one is the Address Confidentiality Act. And so we know if you're a survivor of sexual assault and violence or human trafficking or something heinous, it's easy to find you through your voting record, if you're called for jury duty. There are ways that you can be found publicly. And so what this bill package did was allow a mechanism for your address to be shielded with the Attorney General's office if you're a survivor of sexual assault and violence, so that your abusers can't find you publicly and re-abuse you. Again, significant pieces of legislation that really help people in their quality of life. And for me, justice is a quality of life issue for Michiganders, because people are not gonna wanna stay somewhere where they don't feel safe, where they don't feel seen, where they don't feel heard, and they're not gonna trust in our process. And so what I can promise you is that I believe in equal justice under the law. And I say that and people say, oh yeah, okay. Well, let me tell you, everybody doesn't, okay? So let's start there. But the other thing I will share with you is that I know that I can rule without fear or favor. And why do I say that? And I say that because it was April 30th of 2020 where there were guns and Confederate flags and nooses and swastikas on the lawn of our house, the people's house. You all saw it on TV. And what a lot of people don't know is that our offices are actually across the street. Our offices are not in the building. And so in order for us to do our job, to go vote, knowing that there were people that had firearms, again, life-size nooses, we had to walk across the street through that crowd. And as people of color, the representatives of color, we were told to go through the back so we wouldn't be harmed. I'm just gonna be 100% honest. We were locked on the house floor because they were afraid that the security would be stampeded. So I say to you, I can rule without fear or favor because I was in a situation where I had to go to work under threat of physical harm and violence, and I still showed up for my community and voted in the way that I thought was best for my community. And I will do that as your next Michigan Supreme Court Justice.
Here, here.
And so I know that Justice Bernstein talked about what's at stake, but I would be remiss if I didn't echo his sentiments. So what do we know? We know that just a few weeks ago, the Board of Canvassers deadlocked on whether to put the Reproductive Rights Petition Act on the ballot. So we know that if the Board of Canvassers deadlocks for any reason, that issue will go to the Michigan Supreme Court. We also know that voting rights will be solely and exclusively determined by the Michigan Supreme Court. Who gets to vote, where they vote, how they vote. And we're seeing this across the country. The Wisconsin Supreme Court recently ruled that drop boxes can be, they recently affirmed the banning of drop boxes. Right? And I'm not saying that legislation has been introduced, it has not to my knowledge, but it could be. So we have a lot at stake in this election. And those that know me know, that I have a 7-week-old at home. I just had a baby. Yeah. Yeah.
Going right back.
Yeah. Thank you. And so we've been doing a lot of work on this campaign trail. But one thing I cannot allow is for my daughter to ever look up at me and ask me where I was and how did I protect her future. And so that's why we're in this race. It's not just about the people in this room today. The decision that the Michigan Supreme Court makes will literally affect generations to come. It will literally affect the type of Michigan your children and your children's children will live in. And so we have to make that decision right here, right now, in this upcoming election. And I know everyone here knows, but I think it's worth reiterating. Your vote in November is not for 2022.
That's right.
Let's be clear.
That's right.
Your vote is for 2024.
Yes.
This is setting the stage for what our election is going to look like in 2024. So the candidate, you may not find a perfect candidate for the position that you want to vote for. But we for sure got to get people across the finish line.
Say it.
And that includes myself and Justice Bernstein.
All right, the two B's.
The two B's. And it's on the ballot, somewhere on the ballot. But I'm gonna put one more thing on you. Sorry, I know this is a little heavy. But for those of you that don't know, our Chief Justice, Bridget Mary McCormick, is stepping down at the end of the year. And so what does that mean? That means our governor will get to appoint someone. So that means if we win this race, right here, right now, I want to make sure we're all on one accord here.
All right.
If we win this race, the governor will get to appoint another person, adding to the court. Are we all on one accord here?
That part.
If we are unsuccessful in November, the governor will still get to appoint. That person that she appoints will have to run again in 2 years, in 2024.
Okay.
Presidential election.
Are we all on one accord?
One accord. Yes, yes.
Okay. I know everyone is tired. And I know that there are folks in this room that have been in the fight way longer than I have.
Oh, yes.
But you all wait till 2024 and have a Michigan Supreme Court up for grabs, in flux, potentially gettable. And we haven't seen anything yet.
Yes.
That part.
That's right.
Because nothing will be on the ballot except for president. You'll have our House of Representative candidates, obviously, congressional candidates. Michigan Supreme Court will be the most important race in 2024. But I am not a doom and gloom candidate, so we'll lighten this up. We have the opportunity to protect justice for generations right here, right now, with the election of Justice Bernstein and Kyra Harris Bolden, the two B's on your ballot. We can make sure that justice for generations are protected, and then we can rest a little bit in 2024. Not really. But we can do it. We can pull this across the finish line and make it happen. And I'm just so honored to even be in this position.
All right.
Because others have come before me and I stand on their shoulders, and I'm very close with a lot of them that have tried to break the barrier, specifically of being the first Black woman on the Michigan Supreme Court. And believe me, it gives me no pleasure, honestly, to say that, because this is a barrier that should have been broken long ago. In 2022, this is unacceptable. But since we're here, let's protect justice for generations and let's make history at the same time. So thank you so much. I'm Kyra Harris Bolden. Please vote for the two B's.
The two B's.
Justice Bernstein, come up and Thank you. And, yes, but I hope you all paid attention to what you were saying, because, of course, CBTU, we do not endorse any kind of candidate. But just remember, and Yolanda's back there worked on the Minnie's campaign, what happened to Judge Deborah Thompson? What happened to Judge Denise Ford, good. What happened to Cynthia, Judge Cynthia Stevens, all right? People were not there, like we are. So it's coming upon us, we're gonna be talking about our political action plan to get the vote out. I asked her during the program, how does she feel about the way we have Judge Ketanji on the United States Supreme Court? And now we have an opportunity, and we're gonna have to do this. Because they don't have, like Judge Bernstein was saying, they don't have the $2 million budget to run 1,000 commercials. By the way, you look good in your commercials.
No, thank you.
She was pregnant, I'm like, wait a minute. But she's pregnant with ideals, and she wants to birth those ideals, and we can help both of these two outstanding people become the judges. And we're gonna do everything I can to get people out to vote and educate them about the issue. So, Phil, we can take a quick photo. Yes.
I like it.
Yes.
Wait a minute, I was gonna let her be in the
You
middle.
want to be in the middle?
I want her to be in the
You want me
middle.
to be in the middle? Okay.
Two things, you got, okay, wait, hide that.
Are we looking the right way?
Yep.
This way, this way, this way.
That's it.
One more. Thank you.
And hold on, Phil, and because we have you here, just one more minute, I'm gonna ask Miss Juanita and Miss, come on, it'll be waving me, y'all. Oh, okay. And would you mind coming up, Miss Peaches? Because, we have already presented them with the awards. Miss Juanita's award wasn't ready, we're gonna do that, but I'd like to have them have a picture with you.
Oh,
And Supreme Court Justice
Yeah,
as well.
of course.
So, they have to come up.
No, thank you.
So,
Wonderful.
do like you're doing TV. There she is. Okay, we didn't have an opportunity to present this to her, so I want to share with everybody. And on our literature, we said presenting the two lady legends of labor. They truly are Ms. Peaches Anderson and Ms. Juanita Davis McKinley. And it reads as such: CBTU Detroit President's Award. A leader affects eternity, for they can never tell where their influence stops. Your integrity and passion for helping others is connected to a lifetime of commitment to excellence that has advanced the labor movement. In recognition and appreciation for your many years of dedicated service to your union, community, and CBTU, your outstanding leadership, servant attitude, and compassion for others will inspire generations to come.
All right.
On behalf of the Board of Trustees of CBTU. Yeah, you guys spent some money tonight, but it'll go out. So that will take, you get the award? Just want to take a picture of your award. Going that again. Okay, hold it so they can see it. There you go. A little closer. A little closer. Okay, Phil, whenever you're ready.
This
Or anybody will take a photo. Don't hide your face. You can smile.
Okay, smile. Smile, Peaches. Okay, wait a minute.
Thank you.
Thank you.
God bless
Ladies
you.
and gentlemen, one more time for our two lady legends of labor, Peaches Anderson and Juanita McKinley. And again, we want to thank our special guest, Kyra Harris Bolden,
Yes.
Judge Richard Bernstein, the two B's. Two B's.
To be or not to
To
be?
be or not to be.
Best on the
The
ballot.
vote for them is the question. And we wish you all the best.
Yes.
All right.
That's on the ballot. All right.
That's on the
That's on the ballot. That's on the ballot.
That's a good one.
Yeah, best on the ballot.
Representative Cohen, she came up with a good one. Best on the ballot.
Oh, yes, best on the ballot. Yes.
See, that's why she won that award.
All right. I see.
Thank you all again. Well, thank you all so much for being here. This is my buddy here. Thank you, Jim. Okay, we'll get back, while we pause our business meeting, I'm gonna ask our newly elected, regional director to come up and, share a few words. Some of you may know him, some of you may not. Yeah, Dave, come on up. I'll give a brief, come on, give him a round of applause, y'all, he won.
All right. Yeah.
I've been knowing this brother for quite some time. He and I had an opportunity to work together for national. We were on a committee for communications, not a committee for communications. And all those of you that bought those polo shirts that you have, well, that slogan came from Dana. Dana's the one that created that slogan. So again, that's, Michigan Region 7 doing what they do. But without any further ado, please welcome our new Region 7 Director, Mr. Dana Harris.
Thank you, President Joseph. I appreciate that. First off, I would just like to say it was very humbling and an honor to be elected as your new Regional Director of Region 7. I take the position very, very seriously, but I'd be remiss if I didn't give a thank you to our Director Emeritus, Frank Woods, who's done a lot of great for Region 7 and the Detroit chapter.
All right.
So, some of you that were in attendance to our regional conference, the theme that I spoke on was family and solidarity. So, and I want to reiterate that today for those that didn't get a chance to hear me. We're family. We're gonna have our differences, but at CBTU and the union, we are family. And I'll give a short example of that. I lost my grandmother when we were in LA. And the solidarity and the family support that I received while I was there, from the Detroit chapter, New York, Canton, Pontiac, Flint, and the various other chapters around the country while we were in LA, was just, it was heartwarming.
All
You
right.
know, I was touched by emotion because that was family, but also it was solidarity. You seen a brother that was down, and it was just uplifting, the cards, the condolences, and even my family was blown away with the monetary donation. So that, I want to say thank you in person to you all here at the Detroit chapter. That was very touching. So I really appreciate that. All I can say, really, I'm not going to give you the Vice President Browning speech, be up there all day. But just look for good things to come from the Region 7 team. We got some new and exciting ideas we're going to be doing. We're going to be throwing a lot of stuff in solidarity. So, did I say 17? Oh, I'm sorry. We're going to start something new too. So, no, Region 7. Sorry about that.
That's okay. That's all right.
But I'm just glad and honored once again that y'all elected me to lead this great organization and move it forward. I just want to touch on a couple things right quick. We do have a Region 7 fundraiser coming up. It is our community fundraiser this afternoon at the movies. It's Black Panther. It'll be at the Imagine Theater in Novi, Saturday, November 12th at 2 p.m. Ticket prices are $30 a piece, which includes popcorn and pop. You can contact Chrissy Bowles. I'm not gonna put her number out there since it's live, but you know how to get a hold of her. If not, contact me on Messenger or Facebook. But we do have our Cash App. It is $ Region 7 CBTU. And there are 157 seats available for that fundraiser, so don't miss out. And we appreciate the support as always. And that is all that concludes my report. So thank you, Brother Joseph, once again for having me. And I just look forward to doing good things and representing you well. Thank you.
All right.
Give it up one more time for our director. Dana Harris. We're gonna flip back to your stuff. Tanya, just texted me, she had a family emergency, so keep her in your prayers. She's gonna try to make it. I told her don't worry about family.
Right.
We will get through it. And again, I'm still touched. And one of the things you all know, those of you know me know I said 1,001 times, we ain't for long here, we all are babies. And so it is good to let people know how you feel about it. You know, appreciate it, give them their flowers when they get to know them.
Yes,
You know,
sir.
I don't want y'all to come to my
Thank you.
funeral and try to talk about me in 2 minutes. You got something nice to say to me, say it to me now if I can hear it.
There you go.
So when I'm gone, I'm hanging out with my
That's
mama
right.
and Jesus and everybody. I ain't thinking about y'all.
That's right.
Get a damn heavenly party, you know, I ain't thinking about y'all. But in all seriousness, everybody, it was a blessing to be able to recognize you two sisters. You both have been mentors
We
to me.
appreciate it.
And when I was knucklehead, knocked me in the head, got me in the right path, and when I did something right, you told me I did something right. I just tell you, I appreciate y'all so much, and I will continue following your counsel.
We appreciate you.
Appreciate you, love you guys.
Ditto.
Next up, we'll go back to our business, is your president's report, that I'm gonna give you the short version because Lois and I are gonna go through our political action plan, with you. So, again, everybody, the national, beginning the president's report, the national CBTU. We were called to an urgent meeting on September 15th by President Melvin, and what that was about was the election. He asked everybody on the line, did we need any help with the election? He was saying how important it is, and really everybody, you know, this speech everybody says the most important election in your life, everyone is. But I'm telling you, they are trying to change the rules. They are trying to set it up in America and other states, and even here as well, that your vote won't count. If they don't like the result, they can legally say, no, we don't want Peaches to win, we want Sandra to win, and they get away with it legally. Like those two people just walked out there, they were saying the Supreme Court. And they said, no, we don't want this proposal on the ballot because they got an I over here and a space right here and a T over there, and that has nothing to do with their job. And there's a proposal that will stop all of that. But it's incumbent upon us to be the proposal to get people out to vote. So, Brother Melvin was like saying in Texas and Georgia, we have to do it. You see what's going on in America, everybody. Herschel Walker is a mess. But those people said, oh no, remember now, the Family Value Party, the Christian Party, you know, they love Jesus. They'll say, oh no, we don't care about what he's doing. We got to keep that R. We need that seat. We need that power. We don't care about his values and morals. What's wrong with you, Michael? Who cares? That's where we're at. But think about what they did to John Conyers. Just he was accused.
Yeah.
He had to resign. Al Franken was accused of a picture. He had to resign. But Herschel Walker will keep running. And y'all, what's really amazing, his fundraising increased. So we got to be vigilant now. The executive board is going to hold a meeting in New Orleans on December 15th to the 18th. I will be attending along with my other brothers in leadership here. And Dave, I think Dave will be there as well. That'll be Thursday through the 18th. We're going to vote on it, executive board, and come back to you with that. We'll be at the Hilton Riverside in New Orleans, the last meeting of this year. Detroit CBTU. We did have a quorum in our last membership meeting, but we did have a good conversation, just talking. We only had about 6 people show up, so thank y'all for being here. There was no voting. But I shared everybody our political action plan that you will be being exposed to today. We also talked about fundraising in a regional conference. Again, congratulations to Dana and his team for the regional conference. I want to thank all of you personally who showed up. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It was a beautiful conference. We honored 2 great men, Jimmy Settles, who I cannot speak enough about. CBTU was heading toward the dungeon, and Jimmy Settles got a key and opened it up and let us out. And I wanted to make sure we had a nice crowd there to let them know how much we appreciate it. Y'all came through, so thank y'all. Give yourselves a round of applause for showing up and showing out. We also had the opportunity to meet the new chapter president of Flint, beautiful sister, and her recording secretary. They were there as well. Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist, who may be here today, he spoke, as well as Angelique Peterson-Merberry, who should be here today as well. But again, I'm going to thank everybody. I want to do a special thank you to Tracy Dye, Pam Smith, Michelle Thomas, and any other members that jumped in to help out at the conference. I want to thank you so much. That was beautiful. That's what Dana was talking about, family. You know, helping out. Anybody say, I ain't doing that. No, it was like, what you want me to do? So thank you, family. We voted to donate $150. Well, I'm sorry, let me restate that. The executive board voted to donate $150 towards the cost. We will vote on that in whole business today for the membership. And Christy sent me a note, and I got to hear my notes, but Dana already talked about it. But there's a fundraiser, and we will be supporting the region with the movie as well as the Pistons game. It's going to be on the 22nd.
Pistons game.
Yes, they're gonna have a Piston game on December 26th, Detroit versus the LA Clippers. Chrissy says if you're gonna have a group of 10 or more, get in touch with her. I think the ticket's worth $50. Something like that, but we'll be getting that information from us, but just to let you know, they have the two fundraisers, and we wanna make sure we support them, as well as other things that we're doing. And again, State Representative Kyra Harris Bolden, the two Bs, and Richard Bernstein have reported a political action workshop program that's in rotation now. We have Governor Whitmer coming on, we'll be interviewing her, as well as my co-partner here, Lois, and I will be taping on Monday with the president of the Detroit Federation of Teachers and Angelique Peterson Mayberry, talking about education. And we have some other programs coming up as well. We're gonna get more aggressive with the information and again with our political action plan. Our membership drive, as you know, is concluding. If you wanna sign up for 2023, or if you bring some new members in, it will not be for 2022, it will be for 2023. October 1st, anyone signing up, it will go to next year's dues. Again, you need to be proud of yourself. The president of UAW was gonna come, but he's out doing his thing, and I must let everyone know, please do not put any political information on our pages. You cannot support a candidate, you cannot do anything about a fundraiser, you cannot say, Joe Blow is better than Sam. It's under a CBT. On your page, you can do anything, just don't put on naked pictures there. We have to do that.
Right.
But you can do anything on your page, but on a CBT or a sanctioned page, we cannot. I checked with National, I talked to my regional director and asked him to get a clarification for me, and I appreciate you doing that, brother. He got the information back to us from National, so we cannot do that, okay? When I invited President Curry to come, he is a member of the Detroit chapter of CBTU. So for example, many of you may know, you look at my page and see who I support, but I cannot, in official capacity, talk about who I support.
Right.
So please be mindful of that. It's very important with our 513C. There was a Latino workshop, Leadership Institute. I couldn't make it to sign people up, but we need to get more actively involved. Just pick one or two things. I know you all are busy. I know you got your crazy schedules, and you guys have family first. But we have to do the work, and that's what this chapter has been known for. And we will do. We'll get some great things coming up, and I need you guys in there. To show you what I mean, not only do we have great leaders, the CBTU Detroit chapter executive board, we voted, and we're going to reinstitute our assessment of $100. So in addition to our regular fees, we're gonna pay another additional $100. Matter of fact, I'll make that payment today, my first payment. As a matter of fact, when we did it, me and Lois voted the first one.
I got my money, I got it
Sure,
cash today.
I got cash too.
I got $92, okay.
Well,
But-
I'm giving you the other eight.
I need $8. Somebody give me $8 for you folks. But in all seriousness, everybody, that's where we're at in finance. We have a financial plan, a fundraising, but it means nothing if no one is involved. You are not ATM machines. We're not coming to you money for that. But we have some creative ways of doing some fundraising. And with that, Phil, I'm just gonna speak on a little bit, and you wanna go in detail. We are bringing back a room full of furniture. It was very successful. Phil's gonna be leading that committee again. We have this committee, anybody wants to join that committee with Phil, please see him, give him your number. But basically what we'll be doing the same as before, we'll be selling tickets. People in December, I think December 15th, mid-December, we're gonna actually do the drawing. So Phil's been putting together a flyer, get you that information. We're asking all of our members, and we're gonna vote on this in the business, all of our general members to sell 5 tickets like last time. The executive board will be responsible for 7 tickets. And the ticket price, it was $15 last time, will be $20 this time. And we need the money. But it's a good sale because people need furniture. I know I need furniture, I don't know about y'all. But you don't have to buy furniture. You can buy electronic equipment, washer and dryer, or keep the cash. Okay, so that is coming up and we need you. The National CBT uniforms, I've told you before, the slogan that was created by Dana. Those of you, the problems with hiccups we had, was a lot of them. We've got them solved, so those of you, I think John, you got your shirt? Yeah, John, you got your shirt, some other people, got your shirt, Pam got her shirt, and,
I got
so,
that.
yeah, you got yours, so we got through the hiccups, so please order your shirts. We also, our regional director is looking at, we could possibly change our suppliers, so we'll let you know about that, where we use one of our people, to create the shirts and purchase the shirts. Please contact Tony Richard if you are in need of a shirt. Again, with the fundraising, if you have any fundraising ideas, contact Pam Powell, contact Denise Floyd, they're our co-chairs of the committee, or contact me. Don't think of anything as not being a good idea. Sharice gave us a good idea. I gotta take it to the executive board and then we'll bring it to the members. But she wants to do like I think it's like a dance, or, you know, like people would dance. Something I know Frank and I talked about it for 500 years, we ain't done it yet. But we're talking about doing a cabaret and a movie night. You know, old school, new school. So any kind of idea that you all have, you know, bring it to us. So possibility we'll have a pop-up event at Local 600. So look forward to that. We need funds, y'all. We need funds. Those of you, you know, Tanya asked us to help her with a project she's trying to get completed. With school supplies. If you have some, you can leave them today, leave them up here, or you can call me and I'll meet you up here and get school supplies, or call her. But we want to try and get that done as soon as possible. So she's modified it now, so instead of trying to get 48 boxes, get what we have. They'll have a spot where the teachers can go for resource. They need a book, if they need whatever material, they can get it. So we still can do this and not interfere also with our toys, everybody. I spoke with the school this week. They have 120 students. So we need you to either one, donate money and I'll go shopping, and Tracy Dye and I did a lot of shopping last year, or if you can bring your toys in. Again, call me, I'll meet you up here and get those toys. The sooner the better. And by the way, I watched on TV they said buy stuff now because price is going to be going up in November. Whatever you want to donate, we ask everybody for 2 toys. If you want to do Cokes, you know, that's my thing. I buy Coke. I got a relationship with Burger and Coke Factory. If you want to buy gloves and hats, that's fine too. But we got 120 kids. We want to try to satisfy it. Also, everybody, I am adopting a family, and I ask you if you'd like to help me. The young lady who was murdered by that random killer up here in the 7 Mile area, the mother had 5 children and 2 grandchildren, and you know, he killed her. And she's at the bus stop when he shot her, came back and shot her again. That young lady. So I'm adopting her for the holiday. If you'd like to join me on that, I'd love to have you. But Lois brought up a good point. She said, Michael, but what about before Christmas? So I said, I didn't think about that, Lois. So I called the family. So I'm going to be doing, giving them a Thanksgiving dinner. I'm buying the turkey and all the stuff and all that stuff like that. So I'm not asking for help on that. I thank God I can handle that. But if they'd like to help us with Christmas, make that Christmas, you know, better, you know. I mean, it's still going to be tough. But something that, you know, cbtudm Detroit can possibly do. TULC History Series, Dave just touched on it. It's called A Bridge of Connection. And Bob and Lewis Jones from Wayne State and myself and some other people, we're going to put together, again to help the T. You know, we get a partnership with our family at the T, that we'll bring our young people in and have a good conversation. We did this a couple of years ago, and it was very, very effective. We're going to sit around. A lot of times these young people don't have a clue. Like Dave and I was talking, I said the same thing they talking about. When we said the same thing when we were 25. So, you know, we got a connection there. But they need to know what to sacrifice. Michelle and I were just talking about this the other day. What is the connection? They don't have a clue. They want to dog the union and don't have a clue what the union is all about. So hopefully this will be something that we can do, again, having an open dialogue and conversation with our young people and get them more involved in labor. Labor Studies downtown. We're also going to take a tour of the Wayne State Labor Studies. We're going to have a meeting down there as well. And something that I'm trying to work out now, I want to have tours for young people to go out to the labor studies so they can find out about our labor history. I've got some people who are going to donate some money to us. They'll pay for the buses and pizza and stuff like that. So stay tuned. That's coming up. If you'd like to work with us on that, please let me know. The Political Action Workshop. Lois and I will go through that in a minute. It again is our plan. As you know, we received $5,000 from these folks here to make this T-shirt to do our plan. I found out, Michelle, you and I got to meet, that even if we don't spend all the money, we can keep the money. At first, we had to return the money, but now they said we can keep the money. So one of the things I think about doing, I got to go to the executive board to get your permission to buy a computer. So we have a good laptop. The laptop we had is old and no good. So once I connect with them and find out it's okay to get that laptop, that'll be something we can use not just during the elections, but whenever we need it. The water relief for Mississippi, we are still, the water relief for Mississippi, we are still looking and doing that. I've been talking with some locals and some people from the national. Frank and I talked about it a while back. He knows some people down there, so we will be able to connect with people to make sure we get the water or the money, whatever we decide to do. Ms. Juanita, can I you able to speak on this Christmas party today?
Yes.
Okay, so under, new business, our executive board has an idea for celebrating the holidays, we'll talk about that in the new business, Ms. Juanita, again, trying to, create a relationship with, TULC and support them as well. Okay, and that concludes my report, are there any questions? I will entertain any questions.
Most,
Hearing, sorry.
Is there any way I can collect the money for if anyone is giving for their membership, the dues or whatever, while we're going through everything?
If anybody would like to, and by the way, I have a lot of paper to pass out to you guys as you leave. If you want a, application for, CBTU 2023, we have that. If you want an application for, absentee ballot, we have that for you as well, some political action things. So if you'd like to go, sign up for your 2023 membership today, you can do that as well. Yes, ma'am.
Michael, are we doing the preschool again with the toys?
Yeah, that was 120 kids.
Yeah, and I know it was the preschoolers that we're doing. Preschoolers.
Yeah, we've been
Is that
doing
the
this for a
same
long
one we're
time,
doing
everybody.
For the supplies, that's
Oh,
a different
Citadel,
school?
something like
No, it's
Citadel.
for
The school's called Citadel Center or something like that?
oh, the one you use, Citadel Praise is the name of the church, but they're at the
I can't
end.
think of the name off the top of my head.
Yeah, I talked to Sonia the other day, and I got the, matter of fact, I gave her a nice.
We done been there 100,000 times.
Yeah, and it's the same school we've been doing, y'all, you know,
Oh,
a long time. Remember
that-
bringing in Arnold would go over there with dressed as Santa Claus and all that? So it's the
Yeah.
same school, just
Yeah.
that I wanna make sure everybody understands, we're talking about 120 kids. You don't have to go buy a Nintendo, you know, you don't have to buy them a Coke, we wanna give them, so we get, last year I was able to get some, what's that, Five Below or something, Three Below? Yeah, I was Five Below, cleaned up.
It's
I
actually
mean,
five and over now.
Actually,
She ain't got no kids, I feel like, I don't know.
oh, so,
Yeah, it is.
Actually,
Just like Dollar Tree.
120 kids was light. We had given toys up to 160 at one point. So
Yeah.
we're really down. And, last year, some of us, I mean, we didn't do as good a job as we normally do. But this year, we're gonna make sure all the kids get their toys early. We have them collected early. They were looking forward to Santa, unless somebody wants to play Santa.
I'm losing weight, no. I'm on a mission. Trying to bring sexy back in is hard. But no, Frank is absolutely
We
right.
got a question in the chat. They were
Hold on,
asking,
everybody, please. Go ahead.
we got a question in the chat, they were asking about the annual Christmas Head Start Children's Sponsor set up yet, so whatever that is, I don't know. I don't know what they're talking about.
Concert?
Sponsor, yeah,
Well, if they're talking about the school.
wherever the Head Start, I guess
Oh,
it's for
yeah,
Head
yeah,
Start.
Same school that we.
Do say
we've
go
done.
Head Start.
Head Start,
That's it,
okay.
that's it, yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
So we'll be there, but like Frank said, and I
Okay.
said earlier, and I'm gonna emphasize it again, we need to get busy. One, cost of toys will go up, or whatever you put, you purchase it, you do in November, you know, you're gonna be, we doing the election, we got so many things going, y'all know, I know we got a lot of things going. And I don't mind, you know, like Tracy helped me out and some other folk, you know, I'll come pick them up, I met people all over the place, you know, pick these toys up.
Yeah.
And we need to get this done. Two, we're not gonna have the vote center after November. So we need to get this done. We'd like to get the toys to them early December, but we got to get them done. And again, everybody, I know what I'm saying, and I appreciate your generosity, but you know, man, strategic, plan it, get it done. So we're gonna get, yes, Michelle?
Okay, make sure I got this right. Are all 120 kids preschoolers?
They
Or
are.
what, do they range in age?
They range from, they go to third grade, I believe.
Yep, up to third grade.
Then they go up to third grade.
They're both. They take on all of them. They get a special grant from the federal government, cause you know, they cut out preschool. And a lot of these young people are in poverty level. A lot of them. Matter of fact, the family we did, wait, Frank.
No, I'm just saying, y'all remember this whole thing started out, we just gave them socks.
Right, started with socks.
It started out
And we
with.
had
Juanita was on that, she was like,
Because they had socks to wear.
Remember when we gave all the adult socks to the
Gave them
parents, was
adult
glad
socks,
to get,
because even they didn't have socks. That
they
was-
sure did.
and last year, I even donated a coffee maker thing, we call it Carrick or something, whatever you call it? Cause the teachers, you know, they're unsung heroes, and they were so happy, you know. Think about that show that's on TV I love, Abbott Elementary.
Oh,
And
yeah.
just a little younger. I mean, that's what we talk about. But the most important thing I can emphasize to everybody, please, if you can do it, please do it as soon as you can, so we won't be waiting, you know, on December 12th or 24th trying to do stuff. You know, that makes it really difficult, isn't it?
Michael, is there any way we can get a gauge on the grade levels? Because what I'm thinking preschool, a second or third grader may not like it. So you kind of need to have a rubric so we have an idea of what we need for the first grade, second and third, you know.
I'll get that from
If you can get that.
But it worked out last year because people.
Well, I had a adopted family with you, so I went
I know you.
the other way.
Lois,
So I didn't go
Lois
through
made me
all
look so
that.
bad. I had Kroger bags and Lois had y'all pretty bags with stuff in it. I was so embarrassed.
I
love
just
you.
like to know, you know, so everyone get a clear idea, because I would hate for a
That's a good point,
child
and I will
to
do that.
miss out on something.
I will do that. And what we did a lot of, like Jerry Carson gave us a bunch of coloring books.
Yeah.
And then I bought a bunch of crayons. And then we had, you know me, books. I bought some books and stuff like that. And then basketball, football, African-American dolls. We were able to get the Black
Little
Panther
soccer
dolls.
balls, I bought a couple of
Yeah,
them.
ball. You bought a bunch of goats and other stuff. So everybody, there's no matrix on you. Whatever you can do. We only ask one or two toys if you can do that. If you want to do more, God bless you. But we asking everybody to at least bring 2 toys that we can, you know, get these 120 kids taken care of. Thank you, everybody. Any other questions on the president's report? All right.
Motion to accept.
I will
President's
entertain a
report.
motion to accept the president's report. Thank you, Peaches.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
sorry.
No, you fine, girl. Second, yes.
I was just gonna speak on the water issue in Mississippi.
Okay, let me get this out the way and I'll come right back to you. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by
A lot of
Pam?
people, a lot of
By
people.
Pam.
And, okay.
Okay, all in favor? Any
Aye.
opposed? Hearing none, thank you. Next up is, we were going to do the, I'm going to do the, one of the most important things, our political action plan, but Frank, you want to speak on the water?
Yeah, we done got some calls. You know, I worked in Mississippi for a minute. So I got a call for some of the folks in Mississippi about helping out with water. Their water issue goes far back to when I was actually working there back in 2015 through 20 to right now. They've always had floods, they've always had issues, except for now it's to the point where the Red Cross has taken on the disaster as a disaster area in Mississippi, in Jackson. So I got a call from the American Red Cross down there, and we were on a Zoom call, and I put them in contact with the people in Flint to come up with a plan on how we can address this water issue. I had actually secured water, 3 truckloads from Florida. But guess what happened? Hurricane.
Yeah.
I secured water in the drivers. And they lived down there, so they was gonna do it for free. But if you wanna get on the next Zoom call to try to assist, if you got any resources, anybody that you know live in Mississippi that may need help, get on that Zoom call, cause we wanna make sure everybody gets on there, because a lot of them can't shower. That's a big problem they have. They can't shower, they can't flush toilets. And we thought of it as a 1 month or whatnot, but this is gonna be going on for the next 3 to 4 or 5 months. Because the money that was allocated in the infrastructure bill, the governor has not allocated to the state of Mississippi, to Jackson. Everybody else been getting money, but Jackson hasn't been getting any money. So, just stay tuned. The more I get some calls, I relay it, put it on the website.
Y'all think you can send,
And send it, the
Zoom
field can
link
send it
to
out.
Tracy, she can send it out.
And, we wanna stay on top of that.
Everybody, we gotta understand, I mean, I love Judge Bernstein, you know, that brother's the truth. Like he was talking about Flint, you know, and understand what they did. They said, oh, Smatter, no, you go, free pass, go ahead. All you other guys, oh, no, y'all go. How you do that? But you go steal a banana out of Lou's delicatessen too, have your ass.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just being real. So here down in Jackson, what did the governor do? He blamed the damn black people.
Yeah.
But Brett Favre's ass got millions of dollars, they ain't said a damn thing about his ass. That money's supposed to go to poor people. But you want to talk about Michael Vick or some damn dogs? Sorry, I didn't mean that person. So,
it's up to us. And I hope y'all, you know, I know we do a lot of talking to, but like what Dave said, them brothers went through back in 1971, 72, we still going through, and we gotta tell our young people, we gotta stay together. We ain't strong enough to cut off each other's arms. We ain't strong enough to talk about nobody behind. You know what he said? We ain't got time for that.
None at all.
It's time. We are stronger when we come together. And that's what I think. Danny had your hand up.
Yeah, just piggyback off of what you said. A few years back, we teamed up and we got a donation from the Detroit chapter. At the time, Roy Gamble was regional director still, and we had some support from Lansing. We went up to Flint with at least 6.5 pallets of water, and we gave them out. And the people of Flint were so appreciative of the effort. So CBTU, I know we can do it because we've done it before. So just keep your eyes open. You'll be amazed that $5 donation will go a long way when it comes to getting out of the water. And I will say we went to Costco, and it was so nice. They helped us load up the truck, and I had a guy come with his truck and trailer, loaded it up, and then eventually we went up to Flint. And so that was a testament to you care. And it goes back to, we reiterate, we are family. I know you didn't know some of the people up there in Flint, but I grew up in Flint. So I still got family and friends up here that are still affected to this day. Their property value is shot because of the water. Now, there is a difference between Flint and Flint Township. Flint Township never got hit because of the way it went straight, and then you had a Y. The one Y went to the right, that's what hurt Flint. But to the left, it never hurt Flint Township. But let's believe the water still came from this way down. So, that's just, want to say again, thank you to everyone that did donate, and I know we can do it again to help take care of the people in Mississippi as well. Thank you.
All right, we are going to move on and get out of here. Before we do the, I'm gonna take the papers and move the agenda around, we have time to talk about the report. Is there any new business?
One news report.
Yes, ma'am. Juanita, go ahead. Need the mic? Need the mic?
Yeah.
Thank you. That's fine.
I'm gonna
Did everybody get a copy of the Know Before You Go?
Yeah. It's 3 sheets, right?
Three sheets.
Okay.
I was tasked to do the report on the Christmas party. So, Christmas party, December the 5th at TULC. I talked to Faye Neely. She is the manager of the team. $300 will be our cost. Only difference, we have to make it earlier than we planned. We have to be out of the tea at 5 p.m. We can bring the food. CBTU Detroit chapter is free. All other have to pay $10.
What's the time, Juanita? The time again?
We were supposed to be there from 3 to 6.
So-
So we have to be out of.
So are we still gonna do from 3 to 5 or 2 to 5?
2 to 5.
2 to 5.
2 to 5, on December the 5th.
Yes.
Okay.
December 10th.
I mean the 10th, I meant the 10th, I'm sorry.
It would have been our normal meeting day, we don't meet in December. So again, the second Saturday. Next week, we send out calendars, so some people don't know, why did you forget that?
2 to 5.
Any questions for Juanita?
Juanita, you said we could, bring our food, so.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So we'll figure that out, how we're gonna do that, what the executive board did, we want to bring to you, see if you wanted to do it. So, we'll take a vote upon that, we'll do that right now, Juanita. So, I will entertain a motion that CBT Detroit has the holiday Christmas party, as described at the TULC, as described by Juanita, on December 10th from 2 until 5. And with all Detroit CBT members being free, all of our guests will be paying a cost of $10.
And
I
the
second.
$300 cost for the
For the place.
Yes,
And
so we need-
including a $300 cost for rental.
yes.
I second it.
Okay. Discussion? Discussion on the motion. Is there a second? Pete, the second. Who made the motion?
Second.
Calvin.
Calvin made the motion.
Calvin.
Juanita, you saw Juanita looked at it. They got to tell her. She looked at it. Yes, baby, I got it. I saw Don Trump, declassified information.
Oh,
I
but
thought
she
about
would
it.
say, Calvin.
So it is on the floor for discussion. There is no discussion. I'll call the question. All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, we'll do that and we'll find the $300 somewhere. Thank you, Juanita. We have tasked Juanita to get us that information, and thank you so much for doing that. That's why you got that doggone award, I guess. Any other new business? Any other new business?
Oh, one thing.
Go ahead, Frank.
We need a president for the Pontiac chapter. Pontiac is being reconstituted. If you know anybody in Pontiac, let me know so we can put them in place as a president. And what happened is I got a call from the old president, Lee Jones. They wanted to dissolve the chapter. So I contacted National and they were like, no, don't do that. Just replace and find somebody in Pontiac to take over as president and we can do the rest. If you know anybody in Pontiac that might be interested, preferably a younger person.
Yes. Frank, do they have any officers?
Pardon me?
Do they have any officers?
No, we gotta find a president and we can have them help pick the team like they have in Flint, same way. And we can have them done and installed and they can go in under the old charter. We don't have to do anything else.
Okay. Thank you, Miller. Thank you. Any old business? Any old business?
One, I got a couple.
Go ahead, sir. Oh, I'm sorry. Pete,
Go ahead,
I'll come back.
Go ahead, Pete.
Go ahead, Pete.
This not, it's just point of information, about the voting, asking people, how many of us in here from the UAW? Well, just speaking on this, I can speak on it. We need to have ourselves ready for an election. And we asking people to come out and vote. I'm not saying how you voting, but you need to vote. This is your livelihood. Not just for retirees, but it's everybody. You need people that are experienced and qualified. Yes, it was corruption. 17 people was taken off. But the ones that's running now are not the ones that was questioned and did any time. We need support right now. It's no joke. It's a lack of knowledge that's trying to take us apart. But right now is not the time. We want great leadership. We need young folk aboard. But the young folk got to realize that this stuff was not given to us. It was bargained and fought for. Many of us was on picket lines to receive the things we have received. Right now it's hard for unions. And don't think that if they come for the UAW, they won't be for AFT, AFCIO, SEIU, and the rest. So don't let it fall down, because right now they are full of mess. We're up on the monitors making $14 million, and y'all worried about that, talking about what was stole. It wasn't that, but that's what we're paying a damn monitor right now. So please, tell our families that work for the UAW, support those that know what they're doing. The bad ones are gone. We got to work with what we got. It's not time for us to be out there talking about we need a change. For one thing, before anything, unity is strength, and the strength came from the retirees and us. But right now,
I want everybody to just pass the word. We can talk about everything else. So that's 2 elections this year that we're fighting for. Your ballots will be mailed out for the UAW October the 17th. It does look like paper,
Yeah,
the
but
last
we-
ones
So
did.
we won't go into a lot of detail with everybody.
Oh, well, you can do that and tell them about the ballots, cause it's in the
No, no,
Solidarity
no,
magazine.
I'm
I'm not saying we to vote for it.
I'm just, you know, just doing my job, trying to get us out of here. So everybody
I'm
heard,
through.
everybody heard what Peter was saying. Those of you in the UAW, you know, act accordingly. You know, we got a lot of things going on.
I was just to say, ballots are being mailed out by the monitor.
Right.
And it allows me, not,
But we can't, yeah.
right.
Right.
And a point, the last point on this is to be aware, everybody, because they look like a Kroger shopping coupon. A lot of people throw them away. They don't look like an official ballot.
Wow.
Yeah, just look like
Just be aware of that.
like an advertisement of newspaper.
Okay,
And those look like, we don't.
all right, we are winding down, so we can get you out of here. I hope Mr. One.
I'm gonna say this real quick.
Yes, more business?
Yeah.
Go ahead, please.
On October 29th, in Washington DC, CBTU and the CBTU Region 7 and the Michigan Black Caucus Foundation give an award to Benny Thompson for his leadership and on the January 6th committee and the leadership with the infrastructure bill. So y'all should be proud and happy that the Region 7 was part of that. It was a great event. We also had a meeting that morning at the White House. And we met with a president from a country called Ambazonia, which is one of the smallest countries in Africa. But they hold the largest oil reserve, the largest gold reserve, and the largest precious mineral reserve in that country. But that country is in a war right now because the French refused to leave. They were freed by a vote in 1961 by the UN Council. And they've been fighting ever since for their freedom, while the French is constantly still taking their resources and making them pay for it. So we are probably going to start a campaign. I contacted Bill Lucy. I also noted at that meeting that CBTU and Bill Lucy spearheaded the Free Mandela movement, and that raised eyebrows when I spoke on it. And so now I'm setting up a meeting in DC with that president and Bill Lucy. But I'm going to try to set it up. I know the president is available, so we're gonna try to set it up so they can have some dialogue about next steps. So stay tuned on that.
Did you mean September the 29th?
September 29th, I'm sorry. It's been a long month. And back in September, when was that? After the regional conference. Dana and I and some other folks attended this event for the governor, with the governor and the lieutenant governor, called Black Men on Duty. We had a number of our younger black men from CBTU attend, and it was a good event, and now they're connected into the campaign that we're gonna be recruiting more black men to be on the front lines for the governor, because the lie is that we don't support the governor, and there was over 350 men at that meeting, and it was on short notice. So you ought to commend yourselves.
That's good.
And we're gonna continue to do. That's it.
Okay, thank you guys. I'm gonna move along. Angelique Peterson Mayberry was invited to speak and agreed to speak, but she's campaigning and doing stuff. So she has a surrogate here that's gonna want to speak to you for a few minutes. Lisa? Sure. This is Ms. Lisa Mayberry. She is on the campaign.
I gotta do the introduction thing, right? People watching me on TV and stuff. I gotta do it right.
Now, this is Lisa, everybody. She's going to briefly come before us on behalf of Angelique Peterson Mayberry. Lisa?
Good afternoon, everybody. Family, right? Because we are family. I don't have to introduce Angelique to you all. She's our daughter, our sister, our friend. But I do want to come and remind you to not only vote, but tell your neighbors, your friends, your family, anybody that you come in contact with to come out and vote, especially for school board. This is super important. Angelique has done a wonderful job over the past 6 years, balancing the budget for the 4 years that she's had the budget, introducing new curriculum, rebranding the public safety department so that our children don't feel like they're being policed, but that they have a relationship and that they have an environment that is safe and secure. And so she's going to continue in that vein for our children. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of feeling like Detroit is the place where nobody wants to go to be educated. Right? I'm tired of the public perception that Detroit is the place that's not safe for my child to get an education, and that they can't get a good one there. She's working to change that, not only the perception, but the reality of it for our kids. This is our future. This is our city's future, and she's the one to lead that school board to make those changes. This is our daughter. This is our sister. Make sure, UAW, absolutely, she's a UAW baby, UAW member, and we need to come out and make sure that she gets back in that position working for our kids. You don't see anybody else from that board at football games, graduations, making sure those kids know they're cared for, if not by their family, but by this district. And so I need you to show up for her because she always shows up for our kids. All right. Yes, ma'am.
Her name is the longest name on the ballot.
It is. You will remember that.
And the next one is a young lady, I got her name. What is her name? Hartville. That's the next longest name, and that's her sister. They work together. That's how she said to remember.
That's right. That was our slogan 6 years ago. And since then, if you look on the ballot, people have been adding nicknames, middle names, trying to be the longest name. She still
is the longest
name on the ballot. But not only is she the longest name, she's the strongest name.
There you go. Say it.
All right. Say it. So remember the longest name, but know she's the strongest.
All right. There you go. Thank you.
All right, everybody, moving us along, we can take some votes right now. We need to vote on the $150 donation to the executive board, bringing it before you. The $150 goes to the region conference. We agreed to assist with that. I will entertain a motion that we donate the $150.
Make a motion.
Calvin making a motion in a second.
Second.
Second by Dave. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Next up, vote to send the president, me to the executive council meeting in New Orleans. The cost is roughly about $600, including the airfare and the hotel. I will entertain a motion, to send the president to the conference. Is there a motion?
I make a motion.
A motion by Peaches, seconded by John. All in favor? Those opposed? And, next up, the room full of furniture, to go ahead with that fundraiser led by Phil. Again, members, you will be required to sell 5 tickets at $20 each. That could be your own purchase or sell to friends, or you just make a donation. And the executive board will be responsible for 7 tickets, and the price is $7. The drawing will be held in December, middle of December. And I think it's ABC Warehouse Field.
ABC, yeah.
In ABC Warehouse. I will entertain that motion. Is there a motion? Okay, a motion by Andela, is there a second?
Second.
A second by, who was that, Juanita? Okay, so motion second by Juanita. Call for discussion? Discussion? Hearing none, I want, go ahead, Pam.
Question, I just want to ask again, are the tickets gonna be digital and written, or they just gonna be digital?
We'll have physical tickets as well, yeah.
So they raised the price, you raised the price.
Yeah, it's $20 instead of 15.
It used to be 15, now it's
20
20.
instead of 15.
But we're gonna have both tickets, paper and the digital.
Yes, absolutely. They can use Cash App, they can use the website, or they can pay cash, or whatever, using the physical ticket. Yeah.
Everybody, it'll be exactly the same as last time, it'll be done electronically on Facebook Live, so that program.
I hope not.
Like-
Let's do it at the T.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
How they gonna draw that?
Like we did last year, electronically, and what we have done in our meetings, when we give tickets to our members, Phil puts everybody's names in this program, it goes around and it comes up with the winner.
But that's electronic, that's my physical ones.
We did that the last time as well, and I personally entered their names.
They on something else.
Yeah,
Okay.
so they still,
Okay.
so.
Everybody's been there, so.
Yeah, nobody's gonna be left out. And then I showed the list of everybody's name on it, that's in alphabetical order, so the person goes, yeah, I bought a ticket, they can go see that they bought a
Before he gets
ticket.
to what, you
Yeah.
have a chance, hey, my ticket's not in there.
Yeah.
We're very, very
Yeah.
careful about that.
When are we gonna start selling tickets?
Soon as we get them printed up.
Okay.
Yeah.
You all get that information. Any other
Yeah, you're on the
discussion?
committee, so don't worry
Hearing
about
none, I call for the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Passed. Alright, next up, we're gonna get you guys out of here, Vinny, good welfare, Dana?
I'd ask everybody to keep the former Lansing CBT president in your prayers, Tamala Russell Brantley. She's dealing with some family issues. Her husband fell very ill. He is on the road to recovery. If you want to know more in details, come see me. I don't want to share it with everybody. It's done private to some degree, but just keep her and your husband in your prayers.
Thank you, thank you. Phil, anything in the chat? Anything in the chat?
Nothing new.
Okay. Other than welfare, just want to let you all know, keep Larry Page and Willie Polk in your prayers. Willie was at the regional conference, it was so good to see him. And he, I'll tell you, it was like a shot of medicine having to be around us, so keep him in your prayers. And, David, did you give us a report on Bill Lucy's, how you doing?
Talked to Bill Thursday. Bill's doing, matter of fact, he had just come back from the doctor, and he said they think he's doing well, but he said he know he's doing much better than the doctor thinks.
Yeah.
That's Bill. But I'm going there on the 10th of next month. I'll spend about a week there with him. So.
Good.
And for those you know, don't know, Bill at Lucy took a train from DC from one East Coast to the West Coast to be with us at the convention. He fell, had a fall, had to have broken his hip, and had to have surgically repaired. And at the convention, he was still there when we all went home.
Yep.
So thank God his his daughter was there, and other people loved on him and prayed on him. So he's home. He's doing better. Dave was telling me the other day, he ready to get the hell out there. But keep him in your prayers. Other good welfare is that, well, I guess it's more, any other good welfare, Frank?
Let's keep, our printer of our goods, Derek Watson's father passed.
Yeah, we talked about this more, we're gonna send a plan.
Keep him in your prayers,
Yeah.
that's a good brother, he's a good member of the board, and member of the board here.
Yeah, you mentioned him in the beginning of the meeting, we also gonna send a plan, we talked about the services tomorrow, the viewing, and then the actual homegoing ceremony is on Monday at Kemp Funeral Home and everything. Any announcements? Yes, Joanne?
If y'all don't know me, my name is Joanne White, I'm from Local 600, right now, everybody is, whatever. I'm from Local 600. I am on the Athletic Recreation Board, I'm the athletic director. We are having a pre-Thanksgiving affair on November the 19th. I don't have flyers, we just had a meeting Tuesday because of the restraints they have us on. We don't meet like we normally do, but anyway, it's November the 19th at the local. It is from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. And the tickets are $15, $25 a couple or a pair, however you want to do it.
Thank you. Any other announcements? Dana?
Western Wayne County NAACP, they're having their Freedom Fund Dinner October 16th, and one of the special guest speakers are our own UAW Region 1A Director, Laura Dickerson, was at the Crystal Gardens in Southgate. I sent Michelle the flyer. Adult tickets are $75, $50 for youth up to 18, and the doors open at 4 p.m.
Thank you.
October 16th, that's Sunday.
Thank you, sir. We'll get it out to everybody. Before we get into our last thing, the political action plan, I want to thank you, Lana Caldwell, for helping me get the guests that we had today. Give her a round of applause, y'all. She's been in the print trenches.
All right.
The praise and respect that she does. She does a hell of a job. Intelligent system, and she don't take no mess. Thank you. I truly appreciate you. Also, an announcement I have. You all may not have known today, for the last 2.5 hours, you've been sitting in a room with a cover girl. Our own Adela White was on the cover of Michigan Voices magazine. Give it up for Adela. And she also, her organization, that fights breast cancer, had an incredible event last Saturday. We were able to support that, so we just support and love on you. And then October 27th is going to be a trunk or treat at Region 1A at 5 o'clock. And Denise Jennings is going to donate some candy, and I told her I would give her some money. You want to speak on it, Denise, real quick?
Yeah, they were just asking if people want to bring a card, and decorate it, that's fine. You know, I thought we have, I know Women's Council there, we're gonna have a card for candy. I can donate candy just to the event that they can utilize. We're also supposed to have our, breast cancer, it's gonna be our open meeting, where my mother is gonna speak. She is an over 30-year survivor.
All right.
And my aunt will speak, it's like 15 minutes. Of course, Director Dickerson will open up. So it's at the same, on the same day, but that's 5 to 7. People will be there for that. They can probably come in, come in. It'll probably be cupcakes, but because we could not do the regular event today because of the breast cancer, our big meeting, we decided we would just do an open meeting and have that. So anybody's welcome to come in if you wanna stop in, for that. When you're at the trunk or treatings, come on in the hall also. That's it.
Okay, thank you, dear. And just again, to let you guys know, some of the things that we have done for the year. We did a political action, with from the 13th district. Tanya Ray and I, asked the questions. We had Janice Winfrey, Chanel Jackson, and Kelly Garrett on the program, went over very, very well. We supported the BMI conference, Black Men in Union, the African American Union Leadership, APR ballot box, the bread conference, Young Workers Conference, with donations, and also supported the event. We supported Region 1A Young Workers event and Canton Chapter's fundraiser, and we also donated money to Donna Dye, an organization for the women's event. The letter before coming. We had a bunch of Detroit chapter members attend the NAASB luncheon with Chris Smalls. I was very proud of our folks that showed up. Thank you so much. Tanya, Angela, Pam, Kevin Tolbert, Tanya Ray, Denise, Oden White, Frank Woods. Thank you all for being there. NAACP dinner, we were there as well. We still have got to take checks, so we're waiting on that. We did Soul Day in July at Northwestern High School. We were a big part of that. And then Della, tell you I might embarrass her, but I kept on talking about CBTU all day. I had people in the audience saying, CBTU, CBTU. And Della said, you crazy. I'm telling about that. But it was really, really nice, a good way to brand. We had our men's health fair, and I want to thank Brother Gary Grant, who was our project manager on that. Those of you who know, watch the news today, you see us down at Ford Field today. We did the same thing on a smaller scale. And next year, I'm hoping we have more and more people, but it's really important, men, to go get checked out about your prostate cancer, about breast cancer, high blood pressure. Black men, we do not go to the doctors. So a lot of this stuff can be dealt with if we go get checked out, especially elderly detection. So again, I thank everybody who came out and volunteered. I call you all the community people in the one. And also our membership drive went pretty successful, and we're going to have another one. Tracy has some things to come out to you. You guys again know about the grant money we got, but now we want to talk about how we're going to spend that money. So Lord, you join me?
Hey, Mike,
yes.
Point of privilege real quick.
Sure.
UAW Local 900 and the Bicycle Club and Canton Chapter of CBTU. We're doing collaborating with them. Women's Committee presents the Slow Road Breast Cancer Extravaganza, Saturday, October 15th at Local 900. in Wayne, Michigan, on Michigan Avenue. The float will take off at 2:30 p.m. If you have a bike, we ask that you decorate it in pink, weather permitting, and if you know any vendors, please get a hold of me and I can get a hold of the.
You have a flyer, you send it?
Send it to Michelle.
Okay.
So she'll be there.
Thank you. All right, everybody, so we were winding down.
But Calvin got something.
Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me, I see you, Calvin.
Okay, down at the T, they having a celebrity night.
I saw that, yeah.
Okay, October 11th at 5 o'clock, Michael Aaron. Craig Strong will be there on the 13th.
Charlie Langston.
Charlie Langston on the 18th. Gail Hamilton will be on the 25th at 5. And Kathy and Garrett, Wayne County Clerk, is gonna be there on the 27th, 5 o'clock.
So what happens there? They just come in, everybody just come and drink and have.
Socialize.
Socialize, okay. I just wanna know this. All right, so everybody, we're gonna go through this. This is really the crux of what we're doing. Lois and I are gonna take you through it. Everybody can look at your CBTU political action plan. We've been working on this a while. Our friend and I have been bugging him. He's on a committee nationally they were supposed to put together, and we couldn't wait anymore. So we have come up with our own plan. Our executive board came together. We came up with a bunch of ideas. We talked to all of you. Throw a little Lois, you can join me. Everybody say bye, Bianca. We love you. Got your pink on. Hey, Bianca, for you, baby. Just for you. I guess just for you.
It was over here, the sign sheet.
Yeah, sign. Make sure you sign it. Look on the tape back
Michael
there.
picked it up.
Yeah, I got it right here. Make sure you sign it. It's got the CBT logo on it. So everybody, what this is really key. Again, I know y'all busy. I know y'all doing stuff, but we need a phone bank. We got some great ideas. We're gonna go through them. We just get one thing you can do. I ain't asking y'all to come up here every day. You know, we're gonna be phone banking up from up here, but just do at least one thing. You know, and that one thing could be just talking to your family members. You know,
Number one.
I'm not.
That's number one.
Yeah,
That's number one.
And we're not talking about doing labor walks. We're talking about phone banking. We're talking about your social media, your personal social media. We're going to be giving you material that you can put on this. So, for example, if you look at this, it says know before you go, vote. That's our theme. People need to know about the issue, like what Peter was talking about with the election. You need to know. We had Judge Bernstein and Kara Harris Bolden here. People need to know about this young lady. A lot of people look at her and say, "Oh, she's too young." This lady's been doing. Y'all watched the program interview. This lady's been doing. She's been writing. What's going this way? They can see your beautiful. It don't look so good, y'all. She looks so
All right now.
So
I had to take off my mask. That's why I moved.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I just saying move back.
But
That's all.
my point is, everybody, people, including us, need to know. That's why we're doing these political action workshop videos. Phil working, and he get up, and I got to call and wake him up, which I hate. But you know, the people's schedule is just so crazy. You know, right now I'm working to get Hugh Perkins and Hester Wheeler. We're going to talk about the proposal. I'm trying to bring people who are knowledgeable so we can teach our people. All right? But you're going to be knowledgeable. We're going to have a speakers bureau, and I'm going to set it. I got the criteria, I got syllabus, teaching you about the issues because we need you to go out to the churches. We need you to go to the block club. We need you to go to your union meeting and speak on it. Now, if you're going to go there as a CBTU spokesperson, you cannot endorse a candidate or any proposal, but you can educate. You can motivate. All right? We register people to vote. Before you leave here today, we have the forms for absentee ballots. We are encouraging people to sign up for absentee ballots. We're encouraging people to go to the drop boxes early. So let's go into the plan. Our plan will be to educate the voters on the issues, provide transportation when possible. We have a company, a bus company that's going to work with us to clarify voting procedures, ballot proposals, and their voting rights. Lois?
You know, Michael, you are so cute.
First he tell you cute. Is this a cute?
Hey,
Look,
thing
look.
going on
Is this
here.
a cute
Michael
meeting?
flies
Your
by
eyes
the
will tell you.
CBS. But anyway, we're gonna publicize those drop boxes, locations, because we need to know the ones that are valid that they're gonna be going to. So we're really gonna work on that. And we're gonna hold those election protection training at the vote center here. We're gonna have 2. I will be here on the 22nd. The 29th, I have to work for a job that pays me money. So.
Hey, we pay $4,000, no? And if you wanna sign up, everybody, this will be done by the NAACP.
Yeah.
Please, we're gonna send you the number to call to sign up for either one of those classes. We wanna have some numbers.
Right.
We don't wanna have, like, this would be a great class. So it's election protection training, and then you'll be able to go to the polls, because the Republicans already said they're gonna try and intimidate.
Oh, yeah. They're
doing it already.
Voters and people when they're counting the votes. These people, I'm telling you, I gotta play. Look at Roe versus Wade, everybody. They've been trying to get rid of that for 30-something years, and they succeeded, because what we do? We win an election, oh, Obama won, and we go party, right? They strategize. They have meetings. That's why those nuts, I'm sorry, those people that don't speak well, intelligently with plans, are running in there like Herschel Walker. So we got to be diligent and get down.
The female we got running for.
Tell them about her.
Wants to be the Secretary of State. Crystal. All she can talk about is abortion rights. That has nothing to do with the Secretary of State position. And she's been endorsed by the Republican Party and Trump down there. So needless to say no more. Well, we know that we can't say that who how to vote, but let's be aware. Read between the lines. And Michael and I, for time's sake, Michael, I think these are adults. They can read through this. We need to talk about those proposals.
Okay.
We really need to get on the proposals so you can be comfortable with making your decision on the
The
proposal.
one thing I do want to share with you, look at the back page, that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be targeting neighborhoods, we're going to be targeting people that do vote and people that don't vote. You got to understand, some people don't vote because they don't have any money. They can't get to the voting places.
They can't take off from work.
They can't take off from work. So we're gonna go to them. We're gonna go to beauty shops, barber shops, pass out literature that allows us to speak and engage in a conversation. You know, we call the black man's barber shop is the black man's country club. There's a great conversation in there. But we must engage people.
Yes.
Okay. So like Lord said, you all are intelligent. Y'all been in the game for a while. We want to talk about these proposals. We're gonna get you out of here. So proposal one, everybody. A lot of people didn't even know it was out there. Very basically, we have the actual proposal that's going in for the Constitution that actually will be on the ballot. It's simply, I'm going to do it in layman's terms, that they're going to increase the term limits to 12 years, because you know they brought it back. But what's key, they're going to have to tell where they got that money from.
That's right.
Who gave them money. So it is really a good, and a lot of Republicans don't want this thing to pass. You know, I mean, think about somebody like a Matt Gaetz. You know, the money that they get, they ain't gonna tell anybody where the money comes from. You know, those kind of things. So that's basically what proposal one would do. That they have to tell who gave them the money, and who they are.
And plus, Michael, on that proposal, they also have to make it transparent. Their jobs outside of the office they're holding.
Yep.
Because a lot of them are working for people,
Private
companies that are definitely not for the working man.
That's right.
And women. So now they have to put that up front.
Exactly.
You know, I really think they can get away with the campaign donations to a certain extent, but when you find out who's signing their real paycheck, will change the lay of the land.
And a lot of them won't want to run, because they're going to be exposed.
No, they don't want to tell.
Proposal two, everybody. This is one of I love this, because we get this passed, it's done deal, it's a wrap. This is the vote. The state of Michigan will pay for your drop box. When they send you your absentee ballot, when you apply for it one time, you don't have to apply for it anymore. That one time is good. Then they also give you the postage with the envelope when you send it back. This is a great proposal that will eliminate anybody, intimidate anybody at the polling places. All this it's in here. The fundamental right, military vet, 9 days early voting.
Yes.
9 days, you got time to vote. You're not required to bring out an ID. You still be able to vote. And I'm not talking about provisional ballot.
Trying to look at excuses.
So this is, and also donations to elections have to be disclosed. So this is an incredible proposal two. So again, you come to our Speaker Bureau's training, you'll get an understanding and what I tell you. And for example, like the board of canvassers, And what Republicans are doing, not just in like what President Melvin was talking about, not just in Michigan. The Board of Canvassers' only job is to verify signatures. They ain't got nothing to do with the language of a proposal. And they actually, if we didn't have a strong Supreme Court, they would have got away with it.
It wasn't really the language, they were looking at the font.
Oh, yeah,
The font, the space. You know, you accidentally double space when it should have been a single space. And that's where they got hung up on.
And they had nothing to do with that.
Nothing.
No authority. So this proposal 2 passing, everybody, we're in good shape to be part of our Constitution. And the last one is an emotional one, and we're not gonna talk about where you stand on abortion, because it's not about abortion. It's about a woman's reproductive rights.
And Michael, I don't want to get hung up, you know, we talk about women, but there are people that are able to produce and don't identify as women. That's why it is the freedom to reproduce. The people that can do that. Okay, get back, move it up.
So we can see.
But that's what we're getting people to move away from, because you're talking about women. They're with the alphabet soup now, not being disrespectful to anybody here, GPT and all of that. Some of them are able to reproduce. Some of them are those rape victims. They don't identify as a female. So it is your right to be able to make those decisions. It would support back what Wade versus Roe had been trying to do all the time, to make sure that you have the freedom of your body and make those. Frank?
I was just gonna say, this whole identification thing is really deep. I've been having negotiations this week, and it came up about that. And people are actually identifying as animals.
Animals?
Animals. They have litter boxes, or kids have litter boxes in the school. Now, yeah, they're identifying, so this is really way beyond what y'all be talking about.
It started in a plant, there was
They're
a
identifying
plant where
plants.
they had trans.
I mean, it is absolutely crazy to me when people are identifying themselves as.
And you know what, we can't let this, go ahead, Michelle.
I just want to
Come back.
back off Frank, that he's actually accurate, because we were just at the women's conference at Black Lake. One of the ladies I met, she works in Ohio, and she said that it's a big thing down there. They'll go in the break rooms, and they're down there, they're identified as cats.
Yeah.
And they're licking themselves, not necessarily, but licking their arms, doing different things, so yeah, it's.
But didn't they say, Michelle, it started because they were kinda upset about the different bathrooms?
She never gave me how it
Someone
derived,
said that in
but,
one plant, they figured if they can have bathrooms, you know, the trans and whatever, then they should be able to have cat bath.
Mental health is real.
Yeah, it really is, it really is real. And we don't want to get off the dime, because we want to, in those kind of conversations, we'll get people, because, you know, people have emotional buzzwords that push them. But this thing is about a woman's right to her medical choices. Nobody should be able to tell anyone. I mean, you know, you gonna tell her she has breast cancer and she should keep both breasts, or have them removed? You can't tell her what to do. Nobody tell no man to get a vasectomy. You know, nobody. You know, I mean, like.
Plus, they don't wanna pay for our birth control.
Yeah.
But they give y'all the little blue pills.
Hey,
But
don't be knocking the blue wheels now. Keep focused here. But in all seriousness, everybody, we don't want to get knocked off the snide. This is about a woman's right to control her medical decisions. It really ain't got nothing to do with no doggone abortion. This has got to do with a woman's right for choice. And don't let them get you. It's a woman's reproductive rights choices. I'm sorry, Pete.
I gotta say this, Michael, you gotta stop saying a woman. It is people that can reproduce, and that's why it is the freedom.
It should be a person's right.
The person's right to make that decision.
I'm a little naive about all that other stuff.
Okay. That's okay, I'm here to help.
I'm thank you, baby. Pete, you have something?
Oh, I just wanted to say, well, I'm a UAW member, and I say we should vote yes on all three.
No, we
I said I am.
I know, but we don't want to even confuse people whatsoever. So ignore what we just said.
We actually do have a C4 from international. which we can support, but the only.
Yeah, we talking about here.
We talking about here.
We talking
So
about
people
here.
make.
But I just said,
I know, but people, you know what people
as
do?
a UAW
Yeah, people
member.
won't hear the UAW part, they'll just hear that we support part, so that's why we try to stay away from it, to avoid confusion. We're gonna get back on track, everybody. Proposal 3, alright, read it, and so people can understand it. And again, we're gonna have a program on, and Lois is gonna be on the program, but we're gonna be going through the proposal. Beating us to the punches, they always do, doing a great job. The NAACP is gonna do one, I think it's October 13th, and they're gonna have 3 distinguished people to talk about each proposal. One brother's an attorney, I can't think who the other people are. So go to their website and look at it. They have a lot of good stuff. So again, you're gonna be getting where the drop box locations are. Put that on your social media. It's gonna be on our website, it's gonna be on all of our social media, but put it on yours too. You all are influence makers. People look at your pages and they make decisions. They say, oh, is that what Pam is doing? You know, so we want you guys to be involved. Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna say, not saying in support or anything, it's my kiki, but I will say from a personal stance, it is the right of someone, and when I was a teenager, my boyfriend gave me, and I was, a train ran on rape, and I did get pregnant, and I chose not to keep. It was a tough decision, but for any woman, or not.
A person.
It is.
Because men are involved with this decision as well.
It is a decision that is not, most people do not take it lightly.
Right.
So I don't think that anybody should tell anyone
Exactly.
what they can or cannot do.
And I agree with you. And when I've had discussions with people about this publicly and privately, I said, this is not like going to the grocery store and saying, I'm taking an abortion to go, please. It's something that people got, no, I'm just serious. They're just so cavalier with it. It is not a cavalier decision.
It's not.
It's something that the people deal with spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally.
And
10 years later,
financially.
and financially, 10 years later, they're thinking about that. I just shared something I wasn't going to share, but I shared. My mother, I did not know. One day, my brother and I were listening to. We were young, we were about 6 or 7. My mother was talking about something about our sister. My brother like, sister? You ain't got no sister. My mother had a miscarriage, but that baby still was her girl. You know what I'm saying? And after all these years, my mother still talks about her. You know, so I mean, this is something that is very personal and very private. It should not be in the hands of government.
No, and I'd like to just say one other thing here. You're gonna see the ads where they're saying they're undermining the parents. That's not
That's
so.
true. That's right.
Because if they're underage, they're not gonna be able to get it anyway without permission, even if you go to Planned Parenthood. And there's this one incident in Texas that is hunting me right now. This young lady is 17, homeless. She had to go before the legislator and a judge to get permission to have an abortion. They denied it. She's homeless. How can she take care of a child? How can she get the medical care she can? But these men made the decision that she has to carry this child to term. It's not a child yet, the fetus. She has to carry that fetus to term. And that's the thing we want to get. You say we don't want them to get an abortion. But let's just, do you want to give them a piece of bread? Do you want to give them a place to sleep? So many of those children, and I'm in education and I see it, are abused. And it's a vicious cycle. And not to mention the mental abuse that takes place that ends up in my special ed population of classroom kids I have. Children being knocked into the walls, scoffed, all kind of things. So it's about your right to make this decision. Not someone else that's not gonna go home with you, just like I always used to tell people when they say, I don't like this candidate. I said, you're not gonna have dinner with him, so hell, let's vote for him. You know, because as we heard all that with Hillary, I can't stand her, look what we end up with. But you're not going home with this person. You don't know the shoes that person is in. So when we talk to them, let's divorce ourselves about whether it's a religious right or not. What about that person themselves? Because you're not going to be bothered with them. And if they ask you for $1 on the street holding that sign, you say, oh, they trying to get, oh shoot, you know they got some money. Yeah, they just out there. So we're not gonna have, so that is my thing. I'm very passionate about this. And I hope we vote the right way and educate other people. I'm not telling you which way is your right
And I
may
was
not
gonna
be
say
mine.
that the right way, the right way to vote on these proposals, the right way to vote on for any of these people is the way you decide to vote.
Right.
That's what CBTU Detroit is telling you, but we want you to be educated. We want you to know before you go and vote. So all of us, you're in the Army, it's time we're gonna do it, so thank you all for, Dana?
Just a point of
So get y'all
information.
out of here.
I think it's in Macomb County, some of the drop boxes, I know for one for sure, they got a camera on
Mhm.
it. So we'll be watching, if anybody,
A lot of them do that.
yeah, so there's a camera actually inside the drop box. I think there's 3 of them outside of the drop box, so they're gonna be watching, so just letting everyone know.
Yeah, and we'll be watching too. And everybody, you gotta watch those commercials, like Lois just said. It's really important. No 14-year-old gonna be able to go get in the get in the porch and let the mama know. They even got some. It's really ridiculous talking about they're gonna have non-medical people doing abortions. Are you out of your mind?
That's where they will be going back to.
You know, if a doctor messes up, became so. Are you crazy? If a doctor does this job, go get Jeffrey Fike. I mean, come on. We gotta really let these people. They are really getting desperate. Because remember, everybody, the power is in our hand. In America, America is getting browner and blacker, and that's driving a lot of people crazy. And in the next 10 years, this country will not look like it's looking now. So there's a lot of other issues we can talk about, but the main thing, everybody here, that we have to be the soldiers and get out here and do it. Again, we're gonna be getting more literature from us. For example, you're gonna be getting this one that says 3 ways to vote. How to vote easy ways to vote. You get these, we're gonna send them to you. Put them on your social media pages, or go to our Facebook pages and our Twitter and our Instagram and forward them. But we gotta get the word out. We're gonna be phone banking from up here. All right, so Michelle and I will be sending you some information out. We're not doing any labor walks. We got a truck that, you see those trucks that have the signs on the side? We're gonna have that. Detroit CBTU says, get out and vote, blah, 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 blah. We're gonna do sound trucks. Y'all remember we did the sound trucks out of here? We had the music and the bullhorn, and we're gonna have Phil singing. No, we better have Phil sing. But we're gonna have people, going through neighborhoods, telling people, get out to vote. Again, here's the proposal 1, 2, and 3. We are gonna be soldiers in this battle. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to give a little bit of news. State of Brookhaven Political Action Committee, their general meeting is usually the second Tuesday